Hey everyone. First of all, very happy to be here to talk about how we help our customers modernizing credit risk application and make the best out of solving concrete problem using agentic AI in this case. So I will talk a lot about finance. Why is this happening? Why we need AI agents in order to solve some of the credit risk challenges that banks are facing, particularly for business banking. First, who am I? I'm Adrien. I'm a Global Director of AI Solution for Cloudera. So what do? I help our customers that are on Cloudera AI, to make use of the platform and to solve the right use case with the right solution. So, first banking. Banking is the most impacted by Gen AI. That's quite clear. I think according to McKinsey, we are looking at a $340 billion potential value creation thanks to generative AI. But it's not that we are looking at 340 billion that is going to happen overnight, right? There's still a lot of challenges that we see on this. The first one, is integration in existing process. If you look at a bank, a lot of legacy, a lot of systems that have been here for years, and you need to make sure that the system can get connected to an AI system. When you look at training the people, entire processes were revolving around manual processes, human-driven. And you have to rethink them on how do you move these processes to become AI-driven with human control, which is a very different taxonomy. It's not just like sprinkling some AI on top of a process and hoping something good happen. And you look obviously at common topic for banking, AI safety, guardrails. How do you ensure that the process is still safe and that you are not sending your credit data to the wrong person or the wrong actors, right? But first, let's get back to Cloudera. So Cloudera, we are an AI and data platform. We try to, we claim that we can do, from your data ingestion all the way to your AI on one platform with a single control plane, with a single security layer. We work completely hybrid. Obviously, our preferred partner is on AWS. That's where most of our customers are using them when they are on cloud. Can also do it on-premise, so we try to really be a bridge between the two for customers who might want to do a zero-code refactoring, move to the cloud. They can obviously do it. We provide a unified data fabric. What does it mean? It means that for all your application, from the ingestion all the way to your AI, you are managed with a single security schema. You don't need to reproduce some security rule somewhere else, and then you realize that your access policy do not match. Then you get 25 audit findings, and your bonus decline at the end. I was head of AI for a bank, and I know that when you get too many audit findings, the bonus goes down. There was a rule like this. I discovered it the hard way at some point. We provide the open data lakehouse, obviously, as a foundation to AI application, but also to reporting and any kind of more traditional things you want to do with your AI, with your lakehouse. But today, we'll focus a lot more on the application layer. Why? Because obviously we have a big shift towards AI, that banks, financial institutions, the largest, particularly in the US, have been investing heavily on data lakehouse, and now it's money time, make this data to use and be able to build application, refactor application, and get some business impact leveraging AI. We do this even more on the advantage of Cloudera, which is private AI. And private AI obviously is very convenient for us in a financial service industry. Financial service industry meaning we are able to provide this within your own VPC. Whether it's on cloud, whether it's on-prem, everything remains within a single environment. So you can deploy models, whether it's an LLM or a credit risk model, in the same cloud estate, if you want, which is really something that our clients appreciate on it. We do value a lot of open source, so most of our stack is open source. Why? No vendor lock-in. I always say, if you don't like us, you can take the code and go on open source if you want, which is, I think, a testimony on the value we generate. Clients are willing to pay for us, not because they are locked-in, but because we do provide them a lot of value. And the last part, is hybrid. Like I say, on cloud, on-prem, you can use the estate as much as you want. and deploy the code wherever you would like to have. Okay, let's get back to our applications. You know, agentic AI, when I talk to customers, they tell us, you know, we do see a lot of potential value. The potential value is 50% improvement in the process. And particularly for business banking, commercial banking. Why is that? Because if you look at the landscape of credit origination, for mortgages, in most countries, it's heavily automatized. Even in the US, you know, you have a credit bureau, you get a score, you have almost, not perfect, but close to perfect information. So automation is always there. The real pain point for banks, and when I ask some of them, what is the, you know, how much time do you spend more? They tell us SMEs is where we spend a lot more time. And that's why the spreads for SMEs are very high, because operational costs are high, and it's also difficult for them to get good insight on what's happening. Why? Because when you are an SME, sometimes you don't get audited. Or the audit report is very different from one company to another. They work in very small businesses. So you really have a tremendous opportunity there. But you know, in an ideal world, we don't need this. In a nice world, we have perfect information, perfect trust, and perfect decision. What does it mean? It means that we have great data coming from great P&L statements that are uniform and everything. That's what you see on large corporations. That's not what you see on smaller enterprise. You have perfect trust. When a company gives you a document, you know this document is trustworthy. Obviously, that's not true, especially when you start looking at international lending and other, let's say, less well-known enterprise. And you have perfect decision. Given the information that you have, you can make a decision that you know with certainty what is the risk you are taking on this loan, meaning your credit risk model should be working fine, right? That's obviously not the case, right? We do have a lot more friction that are remaining when you look at a loan origination process. You go from an application, verification, underwriting at some point, and then maybe some approval if it's good. Here, what do you see as key blockers? Well, you see quite a lot, right? Documents, many of them are going to be physical, especially when it's an audited statement, you still find them with a stamp. And even if it's a DocuSign, it does not help much more, right? You have policies inside the bank, so the policy against which you're supposed to match the credit application. This policy, what is it? It was written by human for human. It's not written by an AI. It's not readily enforceable. And then later on, you know, you'll see covenant monitoring and others. So you have obviously a heavy human intervention in these particular processes, whether it's application, collecting the document, then saying, hey, you're missing this file. Making a decision. Yes, there are machine learning models that are making decisions. But if you look at the machine learning models for enterprise and small and medium enterprise, the human input and the expert input, how they call it, is still quite heavy, right? So that's why we do see that there's still quite a lot of opportunities. And the opportunities, you know, are numerous. First of all, an AI-powered origination. Can you make the document review more seamless? Can you review a credit memo and states against this policy, this credit memo seems to match? Or, hey, there are some deviation. Here are the deviation. Please go reach an approval for by a certain authority. Could be a chief risk officer, could be just a director, compliance, anyone, right? And the last one is obviously AI-powered loan management. We do see some banks now doing automated call collection. I was working at a bank before in Asia, and instead of having people calling for loan connection, they put a chatbot to it, and if the chatbot managed to reach out the person, that is being passed to a loan processor. So maybe, and in the US, I know some of you might be receiving some calls that are automated from the banks in order to try to get you to pay back the loans. And then later on, you know, we can also have AI-powered loan management, risk review. And risk review is something that is very simple yet very complicated. For enterprise, it's any new information may lead to a risk review. Think about it like this. Tomorrow, a board member of this enterprise is changing. What are the implications from a risk standpoint for this particular credit? Might be nothing. But if you have to do it manually, you have to research, oh, this person is on the board. What is the name screening for this person? What is the new risk scoring that we see? And so on and so forth, right? So it might not be straightforward. For today, we're going to focus a lot more on, OK, I have a policy. I have a credit memo. How do we know that this policy and this credit memo are matching? And we do have some customers really actively investing a lot on this. Why? Because that's a very large bottleneck on it. So we have a credit risk policy written by human, for human. Might be a mortgage policy. It might be an enterprise policy. We have a risk memo. And basically, the credit policy is going to state, OK, your loan to value must be 80%. Does this credit proposal fulfill this, or do we need an escalation process? That's a process that can take really a lot of time and leads to loan being postponed and not being approved in time. So we're going to have a demo where we create an agent per rules in the policy, and then this agent can be matched against the credit memo that can be seen as a credit application from an enterprise. Before that, the process that we have chosen for this, that we will have a creation for each agent by reading the policy. An AI system can understand what are the right agent to extract and what are the right agent to create, so that you get a list of, in this example, having a couple of hundred of agents. Then we can select it. The selection in the example is still manual, can be automated. We do it manually because still some human intervention. You don't want to apply the wrong rule to the wrong memo. Then you get, obviously, a wrong output. Then the execution and the monitoring. It's really going to look like this. We're trying to bring together a bank process, a bank policy, and also the people in the bank as like human in the loop layer. And even in the future, try to bring in the machine learning model. That's just the technical slide that I have to put. How did we build it? So I built it leveraging a couple of other technology, some open source, some of our partners. Everything runs on Cloudera. Neo4j as a graph database in order to bring better relationship between various agents. I did find that it improves heavily the extraction of agent to have a graph database on it. Also use Docling as a document processor for this particular use case. There's other technologies that are possible. But overall, we're going to extract, find the agent, assess what are the requirements, and then put it in a graph database. And when we want to evaluate a credit proposal, we retrieve these agents, assess whether the conditions are satisfied, and then get a final memo on it. This started. Do I need to click? All right, so this is the Cloudera AI workbench, where we have deployed an application that is meant exactly for this. First step, is we're going to select a credit policy. And the credit policy is one that I made up based on another bank's policy, but I can't use exactly their own policy, obviously. So it's a fairly standard one where you have some threshold that needs to be met and a lot of rules in it. That's very typical of what you can find in a bank. We'll upload it, trigger the first analysis pipeline, which is going to retrieve a set of agents. The set of agents are converted into some JSON file. But first, we can obviously select them. So you will see one example is the credit report age limit here. It just states that the application must be as recent as 30 days. Just a very basic rule. We can also have automated selection. I implemented it so that I don't need to bother thinking, oh, I need to trigger this one, get this agent to run, this agent to run. And AI will decide which agents are relevant for this particular credit application. Then I upload a mortgage application in this case, with everything you expect from a mortgage application, income and other topics. The policy was extracted and some knowledge graph was built. And this does help a lot in bringing, let's say, relationship between various rules so that you can get all the mortgage rules together. We also provide observability through another partner called Galileo. And in this case, it does provide insight on what's going on the agent that we are running. Just a basic observability tool. If we go back to our application, so it should be finishing, I hope. OK. So it does give us an overall compliance score. So in this case, the credit report age limit was selected. They say it is fine. The credit report is 3 days old, so most likely this particular agentic rule that we define is actually OK. The bank statement age limit is fine. It does tell us that the minimum down payment for first-time buyer is actually correct. I think in this case, the down payment is at 9%, and the credit policy was at 3%. So it's able to make some computation. This was not given in the application memo. The application memo, we stated this is the down payment, this is the loan amount, and therefore that's how it works. We used our partner one more time, Galileo, in order to assess what's going on and whether everything ran properly. So we're able to log every single steps straight from Cloudera AI in order to look what is the execution. In this case, it's a workflow, so it goes from left to right in a fairly smooth manner, and we're able to debug if something happened. Was this the right agent to pick? Was it executed properly? Or does it need to be rerun at some point? That's something quite useful in order to avoid. It also does some cost management in case we are using some other thing. That's all for me. So I think I've been showing, on Cloudera AI and leveraging some of our great partners on AWS how we can modernize credit application. It's not just theoretical on a demo. I actually implemented this for one of our customers in order to double check what humans were doing. Let's be realistic. Agentic AI is still at the infancy, and there's still a lot of duplicate checks that needs to be done. But there's actually a bank using this in order to check whether some potential audit issue are happening inside the credit risk origination process. So I think it's generating great value. And if you want to know more, please visit us at our booth 1175 right over there. We'll be very happy to discuss more about it. Thank you very much.